All right. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. The Black Gold Nation presents cinematic connections for revolutionary change, an engaging, enlightening, and entertaining assessment of movies as it relates to the forward progress of Black people in America, Africa, and the diaspora. Waiting for my slides to catch up. Come on, man. There we go. What is the Black Gold Nation movement? The Black Gold Nation movement is an international organization that seeks to liberate and save Black people by establishing our own towns/cities, whereby we control the environment to make our people bigger, better, and stronger. Why we came to be, based on the understandings, teachings, practices, and strategies of past and current organizations that our leadership has lived, moved, lived, studied, and are taught, and the need to continue doing. We build upon the successes, minus the mistakes, to provide our people solutions that work now to implement a 100-year plan to build power. So what we're trying to do via this movie review and in the overall movement is get our people to understand that all of those wonderful Black persons, all of those fantastic brothers and sisters, all of those organizations that have preceded us, all of them were trying to do a very a necessary, revolutionary, and righteous thing in moving the Black needle forward, moving our people forward. But all of them, for whatever reason, failed to accomplish their mission. That means that mission, all that righteous work, all that necessary work, has yet to be completed, which means it is on us. Those of us who are still alive and well today in 2021, it's on us to study and understand the race, pick up our baton in the race, and run the best leg that we can. And of course, we cannot do that if we don't understand exactly what we're engaged in. So what we are trying to do with our bi-weekly movie reviews is simply give our people a better, more clear understanding of how this thing actually works, the system that we are a part of, so that we can better understand it and move our people forward. So with that, I'm going to turn this thing over to Brother Craig Lee, and we're going to have a conversation about the movie, The Vernon John Story. All right, Brother Craig, it's on you. You, you I can't hear you. You're not muted, but I can't hear you. Nope. There you go.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
All right. Something's up with this system that's in this car. Yeah, but good morning, good morning. And as always, I like to get started off with an understanding or perspective from the viewers of the film, and the film that we're reviewing today is the Reverend Vernon John's story. It is a docudrama that was put together, or should I say commissioned, spearheaded by his daughter. And if you don't know who Reverend Vernon Johns is, you definitely need to do some research, but he is was the Christian version of Malcolm X in Montgomery, Alabama, and was the pastor of Dexter Avenue Baptist Church before Dr. Martin Luther King was brought in, and subsequently did what he did on the back end, on the shoulders of Reverend Vernon Johns. So his daughter wanted to make sure that the world knew who her father was. So this is what this docudrama is based on. So Brother Tamani, give me your take on Reverend Vernon John's docudrama.
Overall, I thought it was an awesome movie. I had never seen it before you suggested we watch it for the movie review. And as you said, the Christian version of Brother Malcolm X, which is a powerful comparison, because most of us know who Brother Malcolm was. And I thought the things that he was saying at the time that he was saying it most certainly made him, ahead of his time, and a quite bold, strong, and dangerous black man for that time period. And it's unfortunate that the brother never really found a church home because his message was too radical, too much, too strong for the congregations, which is why he was always moving around, which is not surprising, but still quite unfortunate. So I thought it was an awesome movie, and the fact that the brother uh, paved the way for Dr. Martin Luther King, who I would say would not have been able to do what he did were it not for Vernon Johns, or even become the kind of brother that he was. So I thought it was awesome. It was a good movie, no doubt.
What did you think about the fact that you just talked about him constantly traveling from city to city, state to state in order to preach?
What do I think about that?
Yeah.
I think it speaks to the inability of Black people at that time to accept reality for what it was. It spoke to our lack of desire to really do what was necessary to create the kind of change that we needed. And I think it speaks to, unfortunately, it speaks to two things. It speaks to how religion can be used, has been used, is being used to put our people to sleep, based on the perspective of those that are preaching. But again, the same book, from a different perspective with a different understanding, can be a very revolutionary product, if you are reading it from that vantage point. So it really depends on the motivation of the person that's reading it, their understanding, their strength, their desire for change. You can read it and believe in the as you say, the pale skinned white boy, and meek, mild mannered, and loving everybody, or you can understand that Jesus was a revolutionary Black Messiah who came for Black people to do a Black thing. So it depends on one's perspective. So I think the brother having to move around so much highlighted that fact. Our people simply weren't ready to not only hear that kind of message, but to do. And the things he was talking about doing just from a simple, basic business perspective. It's just like we weren't even ready to do that. So I thought it was unfortunate.
Cool. All right, so the story of this movie begins as he is coming into Montgomery, Alabama. And for those of you who have not been to Alabama, I had the good fortune, upon graduating from Xavier University in 1989, to have gained an opportunity. My first corporate job was with a company called Navistar International, and I worked for the financial division of Navistar International. And Navistar International is a trucking company, so you've probably seen their commercial trucks on the road under the brand name International. So they make what some people call, when you put the trailer on, they're an 18-wheeler. And so I was assigned, I was based out of Atlanta, Georgia, but I was assigned the Alabama territory. And yo, man, this was hell of a interesting. And I remember when I was during training, I remember calling my mother from Montgomery, Alabama. And I remember telling my mom, Baba, I don't know if I'm gonna be here. Because we're talking about straight Ku Klux Klan. We're talking about 1989. I'm 21 years old and just graduated from Xavier. And they put me in Alabama. And there's no way that I could have thought that experience, and we're talking now, what was that, 30 years ago?
Yeah, 30 plus, yeah, for sure.
30 years ago. There's no way, 32 years ago. There's no way that I would have known how that would have helped shape what I do today in Shreveport, Louisiana, and what I am working with you to do with the Black Gold Nation, because I lost all fear, any potential fear of white folks and this system. It would gone, because I've been boots on the ground.
That's right.
In Alabama and goddamn Tennessee. But I remember telling my mother from a hotel in Montgomery, Mama, I don't think I'm gonna be able to do this. And she told me to just hang in there. Now, this is before I knew anything about Reverend Vernon Johns, really understood the dynamics of how Martin Luther King and Ralph Abernathy navigated in Montgomery, throughout Alabama, Georgia, as they, you know, built up the SCLC and did the actual work that they did. So, of course, I'd heard and knew about Booker T. Washington,
Yep.
and whatnot. And so all of these historical places, this was a part of my territory. I covered 80 to 85% of Alabama. So I want to put this in context so that you understand my connection to this story, because I was based out of Birmingham, Alabama, but Montgomery, Tuscaloosa, and Gadsden were the four places that Southland International, which was an international dealer that sold the international trucks, this was the territory that I was responsible for. And so in preparation for what I'm doing today, I kind of followed some of Reverend Vernon John's path, because being in corporate sales, you have to be willing to move around the country in order to procure opportunities. And so this was my first territorial assignment. And so Alabama, definitely, as we get deeper into the conversation, is something that you need to experience. It has evolved, because there's and I'm talking specifically now Montgomery, because it is the capital of Alabama. So it is the capital of hardcore white supremacy racism, not only for Alabama, but damn near for the South. Mm-hmm. So you had strongholds from the state that was gangster with, and still is to this day, Louisiana, part of that overall dynamic. But Mississippi, when you talk about Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, hey man, Arkansas, Tennessee.
That's right.
Man, that's gangster white supremacy at a high level. Yep. And this is the city where former Governor George Wallace stood up and said, segregation today, segregation tomorrow,
segregation forever.
And that's a very important person that we have to, that statement and that quote, as you talked about religiosity and its impact on the minds of the Negro, because when that Ku Klux Klan pale skin said that, and subsequently he was shot, who in the hell ended up lifting his punk ass up? Goddamn Negroes, man. Mm. The goddamn Negro is the strangest. I mean, really, when you really look at this story about Reverend Vernon Johns and the parallel to what I just referenced with George Wallace really tells you how goddamn retarded our people really are.
Yeah.
You got a brother who is about the business of showing you how to empower yourselves, but you got to risk your life in order to do it.
Yeah.
Then you got a cracker, Ku Klux Klan, who is the governor who says segregation today, tomorrow, and forever. And he gets shot. And you can look at the goddamn photos. Negroes love patting him on the back. Oh, I see the error of my ways, and Negroes roll with it.
Yeah, yeah, and that's something that we've talked about a lot. Of course, not only, you know, of course, we suffer from Stockholm syndrome, but that simply speaks to, and again, you got to tip your hat to the white boy. That simply speaks to how well he's been able to use religion, because we forgive like nobody else. And we will forgive and forget, and they continue to use that to move their agenda forward, while we, of course, remain stagnant. So we confuse the sick, man. Yeah.
So I had to set this up as we get into this to let people know I'm a goddamn veteran of the goddamn South, not only from Louisiana and subsequently living in Georgia, but so I was based out of Georgia, Atlanta, over the Alabama territory, 85% of the state. And then they moved me to goddamn Tennessee, where I was over 90% of Tennessee, which is the home of the Klan, Pulaski, Tennessee. And so I had this experience of being able to, you know, travel between Georgia, Tennessee, Alabama, Alaska, and then back home. So this was very, very interesting. And this is 32 years ago in 1989, where this journey began. And I knew nothing of Reverend Vernon Johns at that time, because I was 21 years old, had never heard the story. I had met, ironically, Reverend Fred Shuttlesworth, who was the iconic revolutionary. He's another Christian version of Malcolm X, who, if you ever fly into Birmingham, is now called the Fred Shuttlesworth International Airport.
Okay.
And so he didn't leave. He was not scared. He didn't bounce around like Reverend Vernon Johns, but they were similar in terms of their resistance. Reverend Vernon Johns was, I think, on even a higher level than Reverend Fred Shuttlesworth in terms of his perspective of Black empowerment. But needless to say, that's another icon that I did meet before he died at Xavier University. Just like I met Kwame Ture, Stokely Carmichael at Xavier. We were always bringing in powerful speakers who have made historical impacts. So I just wanted to bring that context to the discussion. Now, question, how long had it been since Reverend Vernon Johns had seen his family? When the movie first starts, they discuss this, because his wife and two girls had already been sent ahead. Remember, she had gotten the house and gotten a job. So how long had it been since they had seen him?
I don't remember. I'm going to say, I know when he saw his daughters, he was like talking about how much they've grown. So a year and a half, 2 years?
Well, 6 months.
6 months. Okay, year and a half.
Now, why is that important? For any person who says they want to do this grassroots empowerment work, why is that important?
Well, actually, it's half a year. It speaks to his commitment, his devotion, his willingness to be about that life.
Exactly.
You can't say you want to do this and not be willing to get out there, not be willing to, as you always say, do the work. So I think it speaks to him, speaks to his level of understanding, love, and commitment to Black people, that he was willing to leave what was his most cherished assets, his family, his daughters, and connect with Black people. So that's what I think.
Yeah, and that definitely is a great answer. But we also have to look at it from the opposite side of his wife's perspective and his children.
Right.
Because though he was dedicated and committed, they have to be factored into the equation as well in terms of how they deal with that type of commitment.
That's right.
And this is the same commitment that Martin Luther King had, Malcolm, any of those cats had, because they were not existing in a traditional marriage.
That's right.
Like, there's nothing traditional about their marriage. And so some would have called him a deadbeat,
right.
all kinds of things, because who was the primary breadwinner in their household?
The mother.
Yeah, the wife. Yeah, the mother.
Yeah.
And he had sent her ahead to get the house settled. And of course, when he made money, of course, he's taking care of that, because he was tapped into his life's purpose.
Right.
He tapped into that from a macro and a micro level, and he was willing to live on that square and willing to die on that square. And that's very important, as we will see as we move forward in the film. But how many sisters do you think today, what percentage of sisters today would be committed to rolling with a brother?
Not many.
Like that.
Not many. Not many. Despite what we say we want. Nah, I don't think so.
Yeah, see, this is where this is at. See, because this is not glamorous.
Yeah.
And analyzing over these past 30 years of learning all of this, analyzing people like Reverend Vernon Johns, Fred Shuttlesworth, Medgar Evers, Malcolm, Martin, and seeing that they were on the road consistently for long periods of time, I had to figure out how I was going to do this and be more effective than what they were. And while recognizing what they did helped me shape my game plan. And this is why I say I am a corporate grassroots empowerment revolutionary, because you got to be able to generate resources, but you also have to be connected with a sister or some sisters who are about the business of the empowerment focus that you're talking about. And that's going to be ratifying. And that's how you get Marcus Garvey, having gone through a couple of marriages, myself as well. This is not the journey for any regular person.
That's right.
And for those who believes that they can just get out here and do this without having a sister who is really going to understand and truly be dedicated and committed to being the point person. This now gets to the 31st book of Proverbs, when we now talk about who, in the 10th verse, the question is asked, who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies. For goddamn show, Reverend Vernon John's wife was a damn virtuous woman.
That's right.
Because she was on her square, okay? She was on her square within this overall dynamic. And of course, the children, not understanding this, they wanted to just be children.
That's right.
But to go from place to place to place, they are being uprooted from what? their friends.
They're friends, right?
They don't understand all this stuff.
Yeah.
And so you'll see in the movie the children who kind of sort of the older one who had the younger one wasn't so much, but the older one started to understand.
That's
Like,
right. Yeah, she came into it. Yeah.
yeah. But initially she had this thing because it's like, God damn, how many times we gonna move?
Right.
We like goddamn Montgomery. And where did his wife get a job at? Where did she obtain a job
at? I don't want to guess, so I don't know.
HBCU, Alabama State.
That's right. She's working at the school, yeah.
Now, why is this important? Because back then, the top two occupations that you went to college for, education, i.e. teacher, and being a goddamn preacher.
Being a preacher, right.
Now think about that. Why would those be the top two goddamn occupations or disciplines when you go to college?
I'm thinking because they non-threatening.
Okay, non-threatening. What else? Anything else?
Nah, that's all I can think of.
I remember now, this is a philosophy, system, and game of capitalist white supremacy. So let's think about that. Let me mount this right quick. So let's think about that right quick. So the question I'm asking, why would those be the two occupations being pushed for HBCU folks at that time? Remember, this is philosophy, system, and game. So the way that we control people, this system has controlled us, is through what? Our minds.
Right. So it has maybe, so it must have something to do with not wanting to give us the idea, concept, belief that we can do and have our own. So you got to limit the opportunities so that we don't start, thinking or dreaming too big. So,
well, that's part of it. But the real key to this, because remember, Reverend Vernon John's very intelligent,
right. 2 degrees,
college educated.
Yeah.
So, okay. And he went to theology school. This is like his undergrad and all this kind of stuff. And his wife is education. So what this is showing you, since these are the two dominant occupations, along with agriculture, those are your 3 fields: agriculture, education, and goddamn preaching. Because the agriculture went into the agrarian economy that we were in at that time, even though we were transitioning or had transitioned after the Civil War into the industrial age. We were still in that agrarian type situation when most of these HBCUs were created. Right. But in order to propagate the philosophy of white supremacy, the 2 primary fields that you need are what? Teachers and preachers.
And preachers, yeah. Okay, I got it.
So they were being recruited into helping promote the philosophy, the system, and the game of capitalistic white supremacy.
And probably didn't even know it. Probably didn't even recognize it.
Probably shit, they didn't know it because they put status. Because we're going to get into the status component of Dexter Avenue Baptist Church. They put status into those occupations. Okay? Yeah. But they didn't put status into what occupation that was the foundation of our people coming out of during slavery and coming out of slavery.
Business ownership?
Being a farmer.
Being a farmer, okay.
Being a farmer. Because remember now, he's talking about entrepreneurship within the dynamic. And we're going to get into the movie where he says, we're going to now start selling watermelons and, all
Right.
this kind of stuff.
Right.
But the Negroes were happy to support the crackers who sold them their produce, but they didn't want to participate in the goddamn selling them, because now farming is beneath us.
Right. Yeah.
We goddamn educated.
Yeah, and that's a good point, because I remember, as I'm almost done with it, but I'm reading Up from Slavery, Booker T. Washington's book, and he talks about how a lot of the students who were coming to Tuskegee only wanted to learn about philosophy, things in French. He said the longer the book title, the more enthusiastic they were. But when it came down to really learning those things that was going to help them move forward as a community, as a people, they were kind of shying away from that because they thought it was beneath them because slavery was behind them.
Exactly.
Which is a very good point. Yeah, very good point.
Which is why in 2021, I want you to follow me now, which is why in 2021, so many African American families no longer have land. Beyond the whole slavery thing, I want you to understand our people still acquired land. Contrary to what you've been taught, a lot of our people still acquired land. But when they went west, when they went to the Midwest, when they went north from the South, a lot of them like, man, I don't want nothing to do with I don't want to hear about no farming. I don't want to hear about no damn South. I don't want to hear about any of these things. So we're going to forego the land that our ancestors left for us because we're beyond slavery.
Right.
We don't need goddamn food.
Which is funny because land is the only thing no one is recreating. There ain't nobody creating no new land.
and so none of this, I want you to think about this because these are things that Reverend Vernon Johns tried to get his congregation to tap into.
Right.
And his main adversary was a deacon, and the goddamn deacon's business was what?
He's a mortician.
Exactly, goddamn funeral home.
So he'll bury you.
So how in the hell all of your money is coming from Black folks?
Mm-hmm.
But now because you got money from Black folks to put into white bank, now the white folks now isolate your punk ass and let you believe that you're on a different status. Nigga, you just still a blue collar cat.
That's right.
Goddamn funeral home business is blue collar business. I don't give a damn if you're the owner of the funeral home or not. It's still a blue collar goddamn business.
Yeah.
You burying people.
And that mindset still plagues our people today because we've talked about how both traditionally and now, current times, our organizations, our churches, we still don't seem to understand the importance of controlling your local economics because we rarely try and take over. And we know that hundreds of millions of dollars flow through the Black community because other people own the businesses, and we have yet to get hip to that fact.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. So they were all cool with going to the Negro to get buried, but they weren't cool with the goddamn preacher selling some goddamn watermelon.
Right. Yeah.
So they were willing to
watermelon.
Yeah, they were willing to give a white man all their money when it came to food.
Yeah.
But willing to give the Negro all their money when it came to the funeral home. But why were they willing to give all their money to the funeral home to be built?
I guess because they had a relationship.
I mean, to be buried when their loved ones would get buried. Why were they willing to do that?
I guess because they had a relationship with the deacon.
Okay. What else?
I'm thinking it must be a political thing in there. I don't know.
Cause segregation forced that punk ass.
Oh, they have a choice. Oh, right. You know, it's funny how they will take your money, but they won't allow you to interact with them. And what's so crazy is that we freely give them our money, although we know that, you know, as opposed to doing our own thing, creating our own economy, you know, we really want to do what they do, shop where they shop, and rub elbows, which is crazy.
If that cracker, if the crackers in Montgomery had looked at the funeral business and the burial business, just like they looked at other consumer products like produce and whatnot,
that would have been gone.
That Negro would have been out of business.
That would have been gone too, yeah.
That Negro would have been out of business, man. Yeah. But the white man say, look, we're gonna let y'all have this because we don't want to touch your nigga ass. We don't want to touch your nigga ass. We don't want to have to, well, that's too personal.
Yeah.
So we're gonna let you, I want you to think about this now. And so because the white folks allowed him to survive, he started to thrive, but he got the mindset that he was superior.
Right.
Status.
Yeah.
So what are the three things that I always tell you we gotta leverage in order to do this thing as a grassroots revolutionary?
Money, status, and materialism.
Exactly.
Yes, sir. Malcolm
didn't understand that. Vernon was kind of understanding, but he didn't understand the impact, the psychological impact on the mind.
Yeah.
These Negroes, that's their God.
Can you think of any prominent Black leader that you're aware of that understood the psychology of the Negro mind, that really understood what slavery had done to Black people's mind? So yeah.
No. I mean, in terms of leader, I mean, beyond like the Francis Cresswell and they're psychologists, psychiatrists, but in terms of leader, nah. You know, because if they really did their tactics, their tactical maneuvering would have been totally different. You know, because you got to deal with that situation. It's real.
Yeah.
All right. So what is the name of the church that interviewed Reverend Vernon Johns to come to Montgomery?
Shoot, the one you mentioned in the beginning. I can't remember the name of it. I remember.
That's Dexter Avenue Baptist Church.
Yeah.
And if you've never been to Montgomery, when I tell you it is in the heart of downtown Montgomery, it is downtown. And I'm talking about a stone's throw from the Capitol.
Okay.
So this is very, very important that you understand that geographical positioning in that. And like I said, his wife had a teaching job at Alabama State. So what was the main reason that the Negroes wanted Reverend Vernon Johns at Dexter Avenue?
I can only assume it's because they thought he would be able to bring more people to the church.
That's true, but there's a reason behind that.
And well, more
he had already built up a reputation throughout the country,
right,
as a very learned, intelligent, fiery preacher. But the caveat, he wasn't coming from a perspective that God gave me the idea to preach only.
Yeah.
He had a goddamn doctorate in theology.
That's right.
From Oberlin College.
Right.
And boy, they wanted that. They wanted that, boy.
And it has to get back to the bottom line of the dollar, because of course more people equals more tithes, and you can bring the money to the church. Yeah. But you know, and it's like it's like what he said in the initial introduction. You know, I got all these degrees, But you know what a white man calls a black man with all these degrees?
Nick,
It don't matter. So he understood that it don't matter.
He understood that before the OJ song came out.
That's right.
Before Jay-Z made the OJ song.
That's right.
Goddamn me, Reverend Vernon Johns already understood. And that's I'm glad you brought that out, because he did that on purpose for all those status seeking ass mugs. Now, I don't know, why he went on and did that. I'm quite sure he understood that if he got those degrees, Negroes would, possibly give him a lot of respect. But I think it was a trick, just like with me, getting my paper from Xavier University, whatever. So you can go back and pull my background. I don't give a goddamn, because it's going to show you when you pull up my resume, Xavier University, corporate America. But now when you flip it from a grassroots standpoint, it gives you credibility, and the grassroots should be like, damn, let's follow this dude, man. This dude did all this stuff, but it don't work that way as much with our people until they can also see the physical reality.
Right.
So, but he made that statement because he really didn't give a goddamn about the degrees, although he had them.
Yeah. I would think that going to theology school, I would think he must have wanted his own church, and he probably didn't intend on having to move around so much. But when he realized that people weren't ready, and he was always trying to find the right congregation, I don't know if that was so much of a plan from the beginning, or he just realized, well, it ain't gonna work here, so I gotta go find someplace else to go.
Well,
because I think everyone who goes, especially during that time, if you go into school to get your doctorate in theology, I would think you would want your own church.
Yeah, but see, that points to his evolution in terms of enlightenment.
Okay.
And now I'm quite sure his philosophy on life began to change, just like with Reverend Clay.
Sure, yeah.
When you study Reverend Clay did the same thing. He came out of white theological institutions and was, rolling with the white churches. He evolved into, becoming the architect of Black liberation theology. He and Reverend Cone, but that wasn't how they went into it.
Yeah.
So that philosophy, when it changes, and now the deacons are primarily running the church, you're now in conflict with the people who are providing the primary financing. So that ain't gonna sit too well. You know what I'm saying? Sure. So that's something that one needs to explore with that. But as we maneuver through the three prominent deacons from Dexter Avenue picked him up once he got into Montgomery, because once he got into on the outskirts, he hitched a ride. That's kind of crazy for a guy who has a doctorate in theology from a white college. He's hitching a ride. But what that shows you is he was truly grassroots.
Yeah, and he had zero issues with it. He was extremely comfortable in his own skin.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's cool.
Because he was tapped in on a spiritual level.
Right.
Although he rolled with Christianity, he was tapped in on a spiritual level. So he didn't give a goddamn about the perception of how he dressed or whatnot. He didn't give, but those around him did.
That's right.
And that was the issue. So the three deacons pick him up, and he says, I asked the question, as they were driving to the Johns residence, what did the deacon tell Reverend Johns about some Black people living in shacks? Because, they were passing various things, and they passed some grassroots black folks, and they were living in shacks. And Reverend Vernon Johns asked them about that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what they said? You remember what they said?
I don't remember.
Those were not Dexter members.
Oh, so that's them Negroes.
That's them.
We got prominent members.
So you've correctly answered that the head deacon was mortician, funeral home owner.
Yeah, and you know, also, Brother Craig, that statement speaks to the deacons or even the church's leadership separating themselves from grassroots black people. You know, we're bougie up here. You know, we're a different kind of Negro, if you will. That's them black people down there. That ain't us, which is unfortunate.
So for any Negro who says, Craig, you wrong for creating 6 factions of African descent.
I didn't create them.
I know, through my observation,
yeah,
I'm just telling you this exists, and that's what that gets to.
Yeah.
Those entities would classify themselves as what? Melanated bourgeoisie Negro.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. All right, so we got the profession for the mortician. I mean, the head deacon, he was a mortician. What was Reverend Vernon John's first sermon about? What was the subject matter?
Oh, I can't remember that either. I don't remember.
It was about Lazarus and the rich man. Lazarus being the beggar and the rich man. That's something that we need to study, because while all these Negroes are chasing the goddamn bag, chasing the bag, and they're so-called Christians now.
That's right.
And they focus on that goddamn bag now.
Yep.
Okay. As a matter of fact, while we're going over this, I want you to go to Hosea. Pull this up, Hosea 4th chapter. And we're gonna look at throughout our discussion 7 verses, but go to Hosea 4th chapter and read the 7th verse for me in the King James Version of the Bible. Hosea 4 and 7.
All right.
And this gets to the Lazarus and the rich man story. And these good Christians are all chasing the bag. They want money, status, and materialism, although their scripture is showing them wealth is not going to gain you access into this place that you want to be called heaven. But this is where it's at. And for those who be lying and saying that it ain't where it's at, you can now see, if you have to be put to the test, you're going to see that you still are on that paper chase. Hosea 4 and 7, what you say?
The scripture reads, did you hear me, Craig?
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
I can hear you now.
Yeah. Did you hear the reading?
No. Something happened and your screen is frozen right now.
Okay, well, as long as you can hear me. The scripture reads, as they were increased, so they sinned against me.
Woo!
Therefore will I change their glory into shame.
Woo! As they made more money, as they got more status, as they got more material, and you are correct, he asked the college coach and the deacon, what does a white man call a black man with a doctorate degree? Nigga. Okay. Now, I mean, this is put in the movie so you can really understand what Dexter Avenue was, what Reverend Johns was up against, and subsequently why they went after a young version of Dr. Martin Luther King. And it was no greater than when he asked the pianist to play Go Down Moses.
That's right.
Okay. You remember what she told him?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
I think, well, I don't remember her exact words, but It was something about if you know, it's not what we normally play, and it's not coming from some source we can't play. But I don't remember what her exact words were.
She told him, "We do not play Negro spirituals. No sad music. Only hymns, goddammit."
Right.
So what she's saying, goddammit, we only play cracker, goddamn music. In a goddamn Negro goddamn church.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now that's some hell of a. I mean, I want you to. This is in Alabama, Montgomery, hardcore Klan country, and the damn Negro whole mindset is to hell with what got us through. We only gonna play hymns. They liken Go Down Moses and Negro spirituals to playing sad music.
And you know what else it speaks to, Brother Craig? It speaks to then and now our people's lack of willingness to deal with reality.
Yeah.
We don't want to be in the moment. We don't want to think about the pain, the suffering, the struggle. We want happy music. We want Jesus coming back to do it for us. We want to talk about heaven. So that speaks to our people's inability to want to deal with reality both then and now.
And what did I say on Thursday when you asked me what did I want people to take from our discussion Thursday? Negroes got to start to deal with what?
Reality.
Truth and reality.
That's right.
Versus fictionalism, romanticism, and idealism.
That's right.
That's all. I mean, this is what Eurocentric Negro Christianity has done to our people. This is what the concept of the miseducation of the Negro by Dr. Carter G. Woodson, this is what this is all about. I mean, this is clear examples. Historically, so that ain't changed. It's worse now.
Yeah.
Because the Negro truly believes that he's free.
Yeah.
Now that the Negro can shop with white folks, stay by white folks, go to the bathroom with white folks.
That's right.
The Negro is like, what y'all complaining about?
Yeah, everything is fine.
Every goddamn thing.
And as a matter of fact, if something isn't fine, if black people are having problems and issues or whatever,
it's on you.
It's on you. Something you did or did not do. It is not the system. It is not a racism. Matter of fact, goddamn, the vice president is saying that racism don't exist in America. America's not a racist country, which is some crazy ass bullshit.
And Negroes still voted for it. See, Craig, you gotta understand, she had to say that so she can get in. Okay, so once she gets in, what's now gonna happen? See, Craig, you don't understand how to say. I don't understand. And that's what the fuck I do.
And she's not gonna correct that statement either, because that's what she believes.
Oh, man.
Yeah, identity politics.
Identity politics.
Yes, sir.
So now, Reverend Vernon Johns, they come home that day and he tell his family, God damn it, we ain't gonna support no Jim Crow institutions unless it was life or death.
Yeah.
He told his goddamn daughter, what was she gonna do?
Get on
as
the
relates
bus.
to going to school?
Get on the bus.
Huh?
She was gonna get on the bus. The city bus.
No.
Oh.
He told her she was gonna walk to school.
Oh, right, because he didn't want her riding the city bus because black people had to sit in the back. Yeah, yeah.
They weren't gonna support. See, the story about the Montgomery bus boycott, they punk ass when they talk about the Selma, they don't mention Reverend Vernon John.
At all. At all.
That's why this movie is important. Because they don't mention at all Reverend Vernon John.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why his daughter was compelled to tell the story of her goddamn father and how these punk ass Negroes from Dexter Avenue Baptist Church actually were.
You know what? You know
And
what, Brother
even if
Craig?
you,
You know what?
huh?
If they did mention Vernon Johns, not only would that change the history books, but that would also, I think, completely remove Rosa Parks from her mantle, because she was not the first sister who said, "I ain't getting up."
Hey, man, look,
Yeah,
man.
yeah,
When you look at how they have, and we're gonna do a show on this on Revolutionary Code. We're gonna do a show on it. We ain't gonna be hardcore disrespectful like they were in the movie The Barbershop,
yeah,
in terms of going hardcore in the paint on Rosa Parks. But man, for them, for the Negro to create a lie,
yeah.
knowing that she was not the first, second, third, fourth,
That's right.
fifth,
That's right.
sixth, seventh female or person, male or female, to refuse to give up her seat.
Yep.
But they rallied around her because it was all staged political theater, because she was the secretary of the NAACP and she was light-skinned and she was married.
Right.
You know, it fit for them to play these games.
Yep.
And discount not only the sisters, the 15-year-old sister who actually sacrificed and did it, but also Reverend Vernon Johns, to basically write them out of the history books. Hell, who is worse, the Klansmen or the Negroes?
Them Negroes, because you know where the Klansmen is coming from.
Okay.
Yeah.
But he was front and center that y'all, we ain't supporting no goddamn Jim Crow institutions.
Right.
He is the one of the principal architects, and he wasn't even from there, of the back to, you know, respect and dignity movement and the empowerment movement for our people at that time.
Yes, sir.
And so that's very important. And so, of course, we get another example of something he had to deal with when a melanated male was murdered by law enforcement, and his mother, you know, said she wanted something to be done.
Mm-hmm.
And so now when Reverend John steps up to go fight, because, you know, she was a member of the church.
Yeah.
When he steps up to go fight, and now gets, his name was Isaiah Rollins. And he ready to go fight to get the justice, even though it wasn't gonna be no damn justice.
Right.
This is so cold-blooded. If you don't remember this part in the movie, the mother says, I don't want justice. She just wanted prayer.
Mm.
And she wanted to know that his spirit was going to heaven.
I'm telling you, man. You got to get the white boy credit. They've done a number on the mind of the Negro. and Craig, that's what we believe. That's what we believe.
Oh my goodness. I'm angry, I'm pissed off. These white folks killed my boy. Okay, baby, let's go get justice. No, hold on there. Hold on.
Wait a minute now.
Now, why did she, beyond the indoctrination of her just accepting, what is the other reason that she didn't want to even pursue that route?
It got to be fear. It had to be fear of what will come next.
Fear of what? Fear of what?
Death.
You goddamn right.
Yes, sir.
Now, your damn child. So at what point, because we're going to get to this, because when they thought they had gotten the real good cat to come in, Martin Luther King, and he flipped the script on their ass. I think I told you, when I left corporate, the quote, there were two quotes by King that really, really, really roll with me to this day. But the real one was this. If a man is not willing to die for something,
that's right.
He ain't fit to live.
That's right.
Okay?
Yes, sir.
So Martin Luther King made that statement during his time at Dexter Avenue Baptist Church. So the question then becomes, Brother Tamani, at what point are you going to be willing to die? What does it take? What are you willing to die for, Negro?
Right.
They killed your goddamn son. What are you willing to die for? So she talked all that foolishness. But when it came down to standing up and being willing to die for that which she gave life to, she said, "No,
yeah,
no,
yeah."
We just
and you know, Brother Craig, we again, the same exact behavior today, because you know, if Trayvon Martin was my son, man, I guarantee you, Zimmerman wouldn't be physically walking this earth. I guarantee.
Cannot.
You know,
that's guaranteed, bro.
I guarantee you, brother. And God knows I'm too small to be going to prison, but I'll be damned. So you know, black men, black women, children are killed, murdered every year. but you never. Well, I don't say never. It's very, 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 very rare that you see a black person going to avenge or get retribution for somebody that murdered their loved one. And we still cry, moan, march, but we have yet to really embrace that scripture, eye for an eye, because we scared to die.
Scared to die, bro.
Yes, sir. And that keeps us
but
enslaved mentally.
You're gonna die at some fucking point. So wouldn't it be better to die for something just? And especially when it comes to your child.
And to make matters worse, those of us that are willing to kill, we're only willing to kill our own.
Exactly.
All these super duper gang members, they ain't gonna kill no white cop.
None.
Yeah.
None.
Yep.
So that's important to look at.
Yep.
So what did the dealing with this whole story about Isaiah Rollins and the murder, what did the deacon mortician tell Reverend Johns not to do?
Can
you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, if FY, if you ask me a question and I don't answer immediately, it's probably because my connection is going in and out. So I know it has to be something about not making waves, right? I can't remember the exact quote, but that's my guess.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. He didn't say not make waves, but he said a little bit better that deals with the waves, not to rock the boat. And what was Reverend Vernon John's response?
I don't remember.
God damn it, I'm a boat rocker.
You got the wrong one? Oh, you got the right one. Right.
He's like, God damn it, I'm a boat rocker. He told those Negroes in that church, in your silence, you have become accessories,
yes,
to murder.
Yeah.
Now, I'm conflicted on the next point because he was with the coach and they were walking downtown Montgomery, and he said, I want a ham sandwich and some lemonade. And he went into a white establishment to get ham sandwich and a lemonade.
Right.
And of course, they told him, take your Negro ass round back if you want that goddamn ham sandwich and goddamn lemonade.
Yeah.
because we ain't serving the neighbors up front.
Mm-hmm.
And so he sat down. Of course, they disrespected him and the whole nine. So this is a part of the whole, you know, forcing the white folks to take your business, which is one of the most ignorant and stupid concepts
Yes, sir.
that I've ever seen.
Yep.
Because the white folks can spit on your food, piss on your food. They can do anything to your food.
Yep.
And you'll sit there to take the damn food just to try to prove a point. So this is why I say I'm conflicted. I get that they, in their minds, they wanted to say that we should be able to shop or buy whatever. but why this is crazy, Reverend Vernon Johns was simultaneously advocating for cooperative economics.
That's right.
So one hand, I get it. He's a boat rocker.
Mm-hmm.
And he wants to rock the boat. I get it. You want to push the narrative, not so much, I think, in his on his end, because he was not going to go around to the back to buy the sandwich. So he didn't give a damn really about the sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
He was trying to rock the boat to show white folks, you can't just tell me what the fuck to do.
Right.
But again, you're still trying to prove a point to entities that are beneath you, that you are just as good or better than them. So serve me.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
What's your thought process on that? 1 minute you're about cooperative economics, the next minute you're trying to force the white folks to goddamn take your money.
Yeah. Well, first of all, let me make sure. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I think it's sad and unfortunate that we are so committed to trying to force somebody to love and respect and accept us, instead of saying, to hell with you and your business. I'm going to shop with people who respect me, who love me, and who will value and appreciate my money. So I think it's crazy that we have been and still are so committed to rubbing elbows with people who have proven that they don't give a damn about us, and it's unfortunate. So why not just keep your money with your people in your own space and do your own thing and go from there? But again, I think it speaks to the reality of our people having Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah. Yeah, it's serious, brother. It's
yes, sir.
serious.
Yes, sir. And that way of thinking speaks to the conditioning of Black people's minds, which goes back to none of our, well, I'm gonna say with the exception of Reverend Cleage, none of our leaders really fully understanding what's been done to the mind of Black people, and then even if they understood it, not trying to put mechanisms in place to deal with it. We got to understand that Black people have been traumatized. We need therapy, both on an individual and group level. And if you don't deal with that, therapy, which absolutely must include the spiritual component, you're never going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean that's real, bro.
Yes, sir.
That's real. All right, so we're heading to the close. We got a few more points to make.
Yep.
His wife asks him a question as they're going through these various trials, these situations, because you had the Isaiah Rollins situation. Then you had a situation where a young girl gets raped by the police.
Right.
He's advocating for that. He's advocating against the Jim Crow system in terms of not spending your money with them. And again, this is why it's kind of crazy that he went in, because he didn't want to support a Jim Crow system unless it was life or death. But simultaneously, he went in to buy the damn ham sandwich to support the Jim Crow system. So I think he was conflicted as it relates to the overall deal. I think more than anything, he was trying to teach the lesson, but even he didn't understand that in trying to teach this lesson that white folks just can't do whatever the hell they want to do, he was helping to advance the system that he was fighting against. It's very complex within that. But his wife asked him a question while he was going through all of this, because she saw what was about to happen. Because remember, he hadn't seen her or the children for 6 months, and they growing, and there's not the connection is not totally there, and this kind of shows, because she likes her job at Alabama State. Right. She likes the folks at Dexter and whatnot. She can fit in, So she asked him a question. Do you have a mistress? Why did she ask him that question?
It has to be because of his time, because he's always gone doing something else, right?
She asked him the question because she knew he didn't have a mistress, but she, do you just like being disconnected from us? Because we see what's about to happen.
Yeah, you about to make us have to move again.
So she knew that that's, especially at that point in time, he's not maneuvering that way, but she's trying to understand, so she didn't get it totally.
Yeah.
But she asked the shit based on his hardcore reality-based teachings. And again, although she was dedicated, even at a particular point, it's like, hey man, I'm tired of all this goddamn movie.
That's right.
Okay.
Yep.
Now, here's a real big point, and we just referenced it: the car scene with his daughter. What did she tell him in the car? And we just talked about
it. Which one? One that when he was sitting in the car and she approached it, or which one? Or the one where they were driving to the hospital?
Yeah. When she approached.
I don't remember.
She said she ain't like him. She is afraid to die.
Right. Yeah. Okay, I remember that scene.
She is afraid to die. You see what I'm saying? So that goes back to who? Isaiah Rollins' mother. That's why I discussed that.
That's right.
The mother afraid to die. Everybody afraid to die. They just want to exist. But based on your existence and not fighting, guess what's gonna happen to your punk ass?
You're gonna die anyway. Yeah, and see, and you can reference that mindset back to Black people. Period. Our inability, well, I guess our fear of death allowed so many things to happen, and not only our fear of death allowed so many things to happen to us, but our inability to make other people be afraid to die gave them the air in their chest in thinking that I can do anything and get away with it. So it worked against us, and it worked for our oppressors and our enemies, and it still is.
And so why is it important for the cracker to shut down the Reverend Vernon Johns, the Malcolm X, the Craig Lee, the Marcus Garvey, the Black Panthers, the Tamani Mwadani, the Lord Force? Why is that important?
For the very same reason they shut down Haiti. We can't give no examples of Negroes fighting back.
Exactly.
Because if I allowed this to stand, then goddamn it might be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of y'all. And then what I'm gonna do?
Because if you can show people how to do what?
Fight back.
Overcome what?
The lack of power.
No. If you can show the grassroots people as it relates to this movie
Uh-huh.
and what we're talking about, if you can show them how to overcome what?
Racism?
Fear.
Ah, okay.
They got to stop us because we are the examples to showing Negroes how to overcome their goddamn fear
I can
of
dig it.
fucking dying.
Right. Well,
And if you overcome your fear of goddamn dying and you learn to establish your purpose in life, now you can goddamn live because you're now got something to die for.
Right.
The punk ass nigga ain't figured out yet what you are willing to die for.
Right.
So since you ain't willing to die, nigga, you can't never live. All you can do is exist.
Right. Take up space.
Take up space.
Yes, sir.
And like Dave Chappelle said in the Negro Klansman, breathing all the white man's air.
Right.
Yeah, Negro, you don't deserve no damn freedom. You don't wanna die for nothing.
That's right.
Punk ass. Scared.
Yes, sir.
On every front. But the daughter told him, that ain't like you. I'm scared to die.
That's right.
But she started to transition only when? When did she really start to transition?
When she realized when racism, white supremacy racism was staring her in the face when they were taking that child to the hospital. And she saw and she saw how her father had to bow his head and kowtow and the disrespect. So when that shit, sometimes when that shit smacks you in the face, you wake up. But even then, sometimes our people still refuse to wake up. So that was when it was hitting her in the face, and then she got it.
It hit her in the face based on the girl. She could identify with the girl who was just a little bit older than her, getting raped by the cracker police. And as they were taking her to Tuskegee, 30-something miles, and just so you know, Tuskegee is basically damn near 40 miles from Montgomery. Because they weren't going to treat her where? At the White Hospital.
Yeah, the White Hospital, right.
Okay?
Yep.
Now, whether or not that really happened, I gotta say it did, because the daughter is who put the point in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
The white doctor wanted to treat her, but the goddamn nurse like, oh hell no.
I'm gonna tell if you do. I'm gonna tell if you do.
Thinking you gonna lose your damn right to practice.
That's right.
And so what do? Self-preservation.
That's right.
Which is real.
Yes, sir.
Because I can't lose my medical license around you. Now, Negroes might have been like, man, that's wrong. He should have did it. Oh, punk ass nigga, what are you willing to sacrifice?
That's right. Yep.
So they took her to the hospital, and along the way he's speeding. And now the second part that she now starts to get it is what you said. Her father had to subject himself.
Man. Yes,
subject himself.
Yep.
To complete disrespect.
Yep.
Complete disrespect so that this child could get some medical attention 40 miles away.
Mm-hmm.
So when people say, well, Craig, why do you fight for Negro? Because of situations like that.
Yep. Because
we've had people do courageous things like what Vernon Johns did in that moment.
Yeah. Yeah. And
now
it's like you say, we owe a debt. We really do.
We owe a hell of a debt.
Yeah. And we got to do our part to take it to the next level.
And now the daughter was like, oh,
yeah,
that's why my daddy do what he do.
That's right.
All right, then we got the grocery store scene with the coach where Negroes give their money to the crackers. So this is part of what I'm saying is conflicting, because you're showing him this scene, but you also showed him that she wanted a ham sandwich and lemonade in the white restaurant. Yeah. So you can't have it both ways. So, but I get it. He's a boat rocker, but part of it, you don't want to support and accept the Jim Crow standard, but then on the other hand, you're trying to fit in with it.
Yeah.
You're going against the 1 minute.
You think he was trying to fit in or trying to prove a point?
Huh?
You think he was trying to fit in or trying to prove a point?
Well, you're trying to fit in by proving a goddamn point. Because in proving the point, you're fit. In trying to prove the point that they ain't calling shots, you're fitting in.
That's right. That's right.
Because you're giving your money to the institution who say you're not trying to get the money to.
That's right. Okay.
And so now we're at the grocery store. He's showing the coach. You see how the Negroes giving all their money to the white man? Well, damn, Reverend Vernon John, you just got to
Right. Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is where he says, now I'm gonna start to sell produce, and the goddamn members are like, wait the goddamn a minute. Because this is not what we do at Dexter Avenue Baptist Church.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but he preached that same Sunday, he preached his sermon about establishing basic businesses and doing cooperative economics. And the church leaders hated it. But what's so crazy is that all of their money came from the Negro.
That's right.
Okay.
Yep.
And so of course, as we just talked about the rape scene of the young sister by the police officers, as we talked about no treatment at the White Hospital, had to drive to Tuskegee, and now, like we say, this is where the doctor started to get it. And that Sunday, Reverend Vernon Johns preached about rape.
Yep.
And it angered the deacons to the point that they wanted to be removed because, remember, the white law enforcement, the white judge, he obviously was the head of the Klan. He called the head deacon in and it's like, hey, that nigga cannot preach that sermon.
Mm-hmm.
You see?
Yeah. Was this?
So
was this time period? This had to be. Was this after the Deacons for Defense?
No. This is actually this is a little bit before.
A little bit before.
A little bit before. It's almost simultaneous, but a little bit before the deacons.
So that's right. Because the deacons were protecting King in the marchers. That's why.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you. Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. Go ahead.
Yeah. So it's a little bit before, because King hadn't come on the scene just yet.
Got it. Okay.
All right. So he preaches the sermon about rape, and of course it angers the deacons. He wasn't supposed to be preaching that sermon, but hey, at a particular point now, he started to get through to Deacon Coach Hill.
That's right.
And he got through to him so much that he saw where a brother was being brutalized by the cops, and he just, jumped in to help, and the cops started whipping on his ass.
Mm-hmm.
And now what ends up happening? Coach Hill gets killed.
He ends up dying, yeah.
But Coach Hill found a reason to what?
Live or die.
Yeah. He found a reason to live by being willing to die.
That's right.
He found a reason to live by being willing to die for an injustice. And that was part of what Reverend Johns had been trying to get him to understand and maneuver with.
Yeah, and I remember when I was, I don't know, had to be 14, 15 years old. I was at the convenience store with some friends of mine, and this white dude pulled up in a I think it was either a Ferrari or a Corvette. All I remember is that it was red and 2-door sports car, and I asked him, how'd you get that car? I think is what I said, and I don't remember him telling me how he got it, but I remember him saying that two things you must always remember when it comes to white people that they are afraid of. And this is a white man. He said they're fear of losing their money. They're afraid of losing their money, and they're afraid of losing their life. So until we are willing to do what's necessary to make white people think twice about them losing their lives,
Yep.
They have no reason to stop doing what they do.
Exactly.
They have to come to the conclusion that if I do this thing,
Yep.
if I brutalize this melanated person, if I disrespect this melanated person, then not only one or two of mine, but four are going to come up missing. And
Yep.
until we are able to rock and roll on that level, by any means necessary, then what's happening is going to continue to happen because they have no
Exactly.
reason to stop.
They
Stop
have
for
no
what? What y'all gonna do?
They don't have no
Yeah.
reason to stop.
It's like the bully analogy you talked about on Thursday. The bully
Yeah.
bullies because he can.
Exactly. Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
And he doesn't bully certain people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes, sir.
And so this leads into Reverend John's preaching his powerful sermon, and the sermon, he damn sure wasn't supposed to be saying this, and it was open season on killing Negroes.
That's right.
But it was illegal to kill rabbits. Out of season. Bro, that's cold-blooded there, bro.
That's heavy.
You got a law to protect rabbits. State law to protect rabbits and all kinds of other animals. So it's like in season, out of season. But goddamn it, it's always in season to kill Negro.
Yes, sir.
Oh! And the head deacon again was summoned by the judge. And after they lost Coach Hill, because now it's like they blame him for Coach Hill's death. And, this is part of why when people say, well, Craig, why is you've been doing all this work for 26 years? Why is it such a slow pace? Nigga, because motherfuckers scared to die.
Because of people like you.
People like you.
That's right. That's right. And I've had people ask me, Craig. They've said, your movement, Brother Tumani, although I love it, it seems to be protracted. It seems to be long and drawn out. This one brother said, I thought it was just an online thing. I had another brother tell me that you're better off doing a magazine because this will never work. And people don't seem to realize that I. In the Black Gold Nation, I can only move as fast as Black people are ready.
Exactly.
If I had some people who are ready, we'd be way down the road. But I can only do so much, and I can't do it all by myself. But we don't seem to realize that because we don't want to look at the role we play in the lack of progress for empowerment and freedom for our own people.
Yeah. Well, the Negro realize that they ain't willing to do no goddamn work.
Exactly.
So the whole premise is just looking at the situation as if it's just you as an individual, because what they're saying is, I'm not going to partake.
Right.
And that's why, as you and I have collaborated, consolidated over the years, as I told you, I have no problem rocking and rolling because I was already gonna do the same thing. But since you have taken the initiative to and you want to be on point, that'll be great, because I'm not gonna gallivant around the country. You have a desire to do that, but boom, we got to do it this way.
That's right.
From the ground up, not from the top down. Yes. And as we've now started to get this thing right, those people will see. And but this is just the reality, man. The majority of these people are not going to do no work.
That's right.
They just don't talk. That's just where it's at.
And you know, Brother Craig, what's so frustrating for people like you and I who are willing to do the work. And I know this is gonna start happening to me the more I get out here in Houston and make some things happen. As this happened to you multiple times, they don't want to do the work, but when something happens, who they call?
Yeah, us.
Yeah, they call you because they know
Yeah,
you're gonna show up and you bought that life. But leading up to that, and it's like Vernon Johnson's daughter, and we can give her a pass because she was a child, she was young, but it wasn't until it slapped her in the face that she got it. But
exactly.
even when it slaps us as adults in the face, we still don't want to do anything because of the way we think, because of our fear. But we will call other people who we know, are about that life or about that work, because they know who they can call to get some help, but they're not willing to put in any time, energy, effort to eliminate the problem so that it never happens again. And
And,
that speaks to the psychology of our people.
exactly. And that's why I've told you, Lord, and anybody else who gets in this space,
That's right.
that reality is there, and it's
Mm-hmm.
super real. So we have to be more clever as to how we go about dealing with our people, because you can be mad at them all day, but that's the reality of
That's
where
right.
they're at. So we have to be clever as to how we go about getting a good percentage of them to follow our agenda. And that's why we have to leverage money, status, and materialism versus the philosophical things in terms of deprogramming them, because of these types of situations. They're not going to move.
Yep.
They're not going to move unless they're forced to move, i.e. why I wanted Donald Trump, was happy to see him win, because you got to put the Negro on the hot seat. You got to. Ain't
Yes,
no other
sir.
way.
Yes, sir.
Ain't no other way. All right. As we close out, this is where now the Deacon Board votes Reverend Vernon Johns out as the pastor. And I say, hey, they were sellouts, but they were controlled by the white power structure. Yeah, they were tokens, but it's all about product of their indoctrination and whatnot. And that's why you got to understand the six factions. We got to get beyond this premise that melanation makes you black.
That's right.
And that just because you're melanated, we can all be unified and be on the same team. This is not reality. And this is how Dr. Martin Luther King ends up becoming the next pastor at Dexter Avenue. And then you see the connection between Reverend Vernon Johns and Ralph Abernathy. And the other reason, too, if people don't know this tidbit of history, that King would have been interested in taking this assignment in Montgomery, because Selma is just, a stone's throw, 30, 40 miles or whatever, from uh, Montgomery. Coretta Scott, that was her hometown, Selma.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's where that's at. And now this is where the great quote from Dr. Martin Luther King, because Reverend Johns had a time to now mentor him a little bit about these Negroes at Dexter Avenue. And then Ralph Abernathy was already in town. So Ralph Abernathy was already in the mix, just not on the same level of Reverend Vernon Johns. He was already in the mix in Montgomery.
Yeah.
And so he is truly a Robin, and he really got elevated once Martin Luther King. He really had somebody that was going to be more focused on being there, because Reverend Johns is like, shit, you either take it or you leave it.
Right.
But this is where the great quote, if a man is not willing to die for something, he's not fit to live, come from. And I love this quote. His daughter said, as she is closing the film out, I asked the question, what is the quote that his daughter has on her desk as a plaque? Her father taught her this, and she has it on her desk. You remember what that quote is?
No, sir, I do not.
If you see a good fight, get in it.
Get in it. Right. Okay.
And so that kind of sums up this brother, but I ask people to do a deeper exploratory research on Reverend Vernon Johns and other entities like him, and really get into what drove him, his family background, his, politics, political views, concepts like that, so we can really, really understand the greatness of this cat. And with that concludes the review of the Reverend Vernon Johns story.
All right, brother. Well, since it's just you and I don't have any questions. So, so
All right.
you want to you want to give your closing statements, and then I can close it out, and we can boogie on from there.
No, that's about it, man. I'm thankful for our righteous ancestors like Reverend Vernon Johns, like Reverend Fred Shuttlesworth, even Martin Luther King, who I did not agree with his philosophy, but I definitely respect his courage and his willingness to get in the good fight.
That's right.
But what his story shows is that even though you're in a good fight, you got to know what the hell you're fighting for, and you got to have a better understanding, because you can set us up by perceived victories for failure on the back end.
Yep.
And but I respect him and Malcolm and Medgar and the Black Panthers, the Deacons for Defense, all of those ancestors, Stokely Carmichael, aka Kwame Ture, Fannie Lou Hamer, all of these great folks who just said, "Shit, we tired."
That's right.
We gonna get. I mean, yeah, there's some special things that's in them, to some degree, but at the end of the day, they just wanted to change the direction, the narrative, and the lives of our people.
That's right.
And Reverend Vernon Johns is somebody who needs to be celebrated, studied, and recognized for what he has done in the laying the foundation for the Montgomery, Selma bus boycott situation in Alabama.
Yep.
And I'm proud to know that I lived in Alabama and I walked those same streets that Reverend Vernon Johns and Malcolm walked when he came down to Montgomery, and the streets that King walked in Abernathy. I'm very honored to know that this is my territory, and I've had a chance to be on the grounds, the hollow grounds of Tuskegee, where Booker T. Washington and George Washington Carver. These are places that you can touch.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like you can read about in the book, but you can go and see.
Yes, sir.
And of course now the National Black History Museum is there. The African American Museum is there, and it's something that all people should check out in Montgomery, and it's phenomenal. It puts life in perspective, because they have iron tombs for each state in the United States where our ancestors have been lynched. And other than this one massacre in Arkansas, the number one and the number two places with the most lynchings in the United States, Caddo Parish, i.e. Shreveport, Louisiana,
wow.
and Bossier Parish,
wow.
Bossier City, Louisiana. And so that's why I do the work that I do, because we have too many people,
yes, sir,
who have lived.
Yep.
And I haven't done the research yet, but one of those names that's on the list is a Moore, and more than likely he would be my relative who was lynched. His story is highlighted there in the museum, and it's hey man, it's something that I am dedicated to doing, and this is the rest of my life.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, brother. As always, I do thank you for putting in the time to prepare for the show, and for being here with me, because I tell people all the time, you know, I remember when it was just me. so so the fact that there are at least a few of us working together to make this thing a reality, man, that makes all the difference in the world. So with that, again, thank you, and to everybody else who watches the recording or who may have joined us live on Facebook. Always remember two things: no one can do everything, but if everyone does something, everything absolutely will get done. And always, always, always remember that nothing is more sacred. Not me, not you, not your kids, not my kids, not your family, not my family. Nothing is more sacred than the liberation, the empowerment, the salvation, and the freedom of Black people. Because if our people don't make it, you not gonna make it, I'm not gonna make it, our kids aren't going to make it, and our people, our families most certainly aren't going to make it. But if we put the nation first, if we put the tribe first, if we put the race first and build something for ourselves, then of course we will have the power that we need to protect ourselves and do our own thing as we see fit. So with that, again, thanks again. I will see you guys 2 weeks from now on the next movie review. And of course, hopefully we'll see you this coming Thursday for the next episode of the Revolutionary Code, which airs at 9 p.m. Central, 10 o'clock Eastern, and 7 p.m. Pacific. So with that, Brother Craig, thank you very much, brother. And I will see you tomorrow at our meeting.
Yes, sir.
All right. Peace, man.
Peace. Hey, Mike.